This is kind of like a follow up from the Taurus video that I recently uploaded, but really the dating the Taurus part 3, I believe it was. So it was a continuation from that. I told y'all that I matured a bit and I wanted to go over it again because I had a change of heart. You know what I mean? After learning some new information. So I recall when I first did that Taurus video, me dating the Taurus video, part 3, that someone in the comment section asked where the whole nature versus nurture thing came in. What made me say that and what's it about? And I remember that I said I was going to answer that question, but in a separate video. And I believe that I did. However, that's when I was on my whole Secret Houses podcast thing. I was trying to jump that off. And so what I did was I had sectored that video, that explanation off into the Secret Houses thing. You know what I'm saying? So whoever's seen the Secret Houses stuff, you actually seen the video, but a lot of people did not see that video. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to explain what the whole nature versus nurture thing is. So any psychology students out there, y'all get ready. Y'all already prepared for this type of shit. Or whoever just study psychology, maybe you didn't go to college, but you know some things. Y'all also going to be familiar with this language that I'm about to say right now. So this is what's taught in psychology, literature in college and stuff. Nature versus nurture. So, and it's interesting, right? Because not too long ago, I was going through some records and I found a paper that I actually wrote for nature versus nurture. For any of y'all who've been in, who went to Phoenix online, y'all should be familiar with this literature, especially if it was about like 6 or 7 years ago that you went to Phoenix. But more than likely, this is going to be in any type of psychology studies. So nature versus nurture is like this. Nature, look at it as your natal chart. When you're born into this world, you see your natal chart, you see exactly who you are. Now you can utilize those characteristics, be truly who you are, and express yourself on that level. And when you pit it against nurture, because that's how it's usually framed, that's how the debate usually goes, right? It's nature versus nurture. And I'm serious, that's how the psychologists, that's how they frame it anyway. And nurture, on the other hand, is when you are provided something, some type of skill set, some type of thing that you learn extensive from what you already possess. All right. So I look at it like this. In some situations, that may be, nurture may be a form of the universe experiencing itself, you included, to where it brings things out of you that are naturally within you. However, you haven't tapped all of the potential of your natal chart. That's one way that I look at it, right? Another way that I look at it, and I say it's interesting because I had chose, because they make you choose one, I had chose nature over nurture, and now I have a change of heart again. So let me explain to y'all, right? Keep explaining what nature versus nurture is. So we could look at nurture as that, or we could look at nurture as something extensive from what you already know that assists you in adapting in environments in order to thrive, really in order to survive, right? So when you think about the moon, you think about the mother, you think about survival, right? It's dark at night, you need some type of light so you can understand how to navigate yourself, move, so that you can stay alive. That's really primarily what nurture is. Now, if you contrast it again, if you look at nature, it's just like this all-knowing. Sometimes maybe you can even be egotistical and be like, oh, well, I know who I am. The individuality kicks in. It's really refraining from being more tribe-like. It's more like an individualistic society, if you will, when you contrast the two, right? So boom. Now, the reason why I chose nature over nurture is because I understood that, and this is probably still like a newbie when it came to college literature. However, I was quickly learning, quickly absorbing this information. And I determined that nature was stronger probably because of my ego again, and me having a problem with authority and things of that nature. So I'm just like, look, in certain situations, especially socioeconomic ones, you look at yourself and you like, okay, well, these people got the power. Therefore, they're telling me or coercing me or informing me, right? Suggesting what I should do. And it's because they got the money, they got the power, and I was born in this particular type of way, right? Some of you may be able to relate to what I'm saying, others of you may not. And then I had to rethink this over, right? Because I'm like, that was my mind frame then. You know, the people who have all the power and all the money, they're the one who sets the rules and the regulations. But then when I looked at this from a perspective of well-being, right? Meaning having a sane mind, and then reflecting on the situations that I was in, getting fast money, you know what I'm saying? Doing my thing, believing I was balling and all that, you know, street stuff, you know what I'm saying? I looked at my behavior and I contrasted it, or should I say not even contrasted it, but I put it side by side with the behavior of people who have a lot. And this is not all people that have a lot, so don't beat me up for this. There's no need to. What I'm saying is, from observation and from personal experience of having a lot at my disposal, to the point where, especially when I was young, I didn't know what to do with all that money, you know what I'm saying? And looking at people now who even have a lot of money, they don't necessarily know what to do with the money. People who inherit money, they don't necessarily know what to do with the money. Their behavior becomes one that is reckless, impulsive, the need to trend, right? The need to be right now, instant gratification. And these things can be very harmful. So again, from observation and from my own experience, from constructivism, all right? Don't follow me with this shit. So, but mind you, I'm still off the heels of correcting myself, should I say, reform, should I say, and getting all of this, absorbing all of this higher knowledge. And I'm just like, man, with this higher knowledge, I'm thinking I do this, I do that, I'd become one of those powerful people. So now when I look at the course of well-being and I look at myself and I'm looking at nurture, came to me in the form of education, right? It's something that is knowledge that I did not priorly know. I obtained this extra knowledge. Then I started doing better with it. I started actually applying it. I didn't just go, and I didn't just teach other college students just to teach them. I absorbed all of this information, and whether I was conscious of it or not, because I wasn't all of the time, I was utilizing this information in order to get my point across, in order to do things, right? And then when I reflect, I'm like, oh shit, I learned that in college. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, everything I'm doing right now, like, oh, I learned that in college. You know what I mean? Especially when I look at these old papers, I'm like, oh shit, you know? And I would say I'm doing better in life now. So I have to recant my statement again. And I think, and I'm not solidifying this because I'm still learning, but I think nurture may be more powerful because there's a sort of humbleness that comes from nurture, right? If you knew everything, you could get this arrogance about yourself to where, and let's say you truly did know everything, right? Let's just say hypothetically you knew everything. Things might bore you. You may become more reckless because you're just like, I know what's going to happen anyway, and this is boring now. You know, you might just be wasteful. You might just not care about certain stuff because you feel you know everything. You know what I'm saying? However, when you refrain and you pull back from knowing everything at one moment, you leave an air of mystery. You leave room for uncertainty. You leave room for excitement still, right? And that's what the moon does, like I explained before in the other video. It shows you a little bit of light at a time in phases in order for you to survive. So some people are playing a survival role and others are playing the all-powerful role. I have everything. I can get anything that I want at the snap of a finger. I can get food flown in from France right now if I want, and stun on you bitches. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the types of attitudes that we come across when we contrasting these two types of things. And perhaps I'm off by associating nature with having everything, but at least let's associate nature with knowing who you are, because people who are more in tune with themselves and more individualistic, they tend to behave in a way that makes it at least look like they got it all, right? The show of confidence is like, I know what I'm doing at all times. I can never be hurt. I can never be stopped. I can never be damaged. I'm me. When nurture is more of a collectivism type of energy, and it's like, you know, this is going to have to take a tribe to get it done because instincts is going to be involved. We got to be aware of who has that type of power, right? and who might exercise it to a degree where they come for us, or they try to come hunt us in the village, and you know what I mean? And then that's why we're on survival mode. So it's like the nature versus nurture thing is really, really interesting. But later on in the paper, right, they ask, what do you feel is more important when it comes to these cognitive? It's cognitive. There's 3 domains of human development. It's cognitive, physical, and socioeconomic. Now, I chose socioeconomic, and I'm still sticking with that decision of socioeconomic, which is basically the development of fostering relationships with people, but meaningful ones, learning skills, and how to, how should I say it? Learning the skills and learning how to express oneself as well, and especially emotionally. Now, I said it was most important back in the days because of 2 things. Because of course, of what I already said, but also how you can overdo it and express too much information from the nurture that you receive to the point where you might be looked at as over emotional. And then people try to play on you like that. Like, oh, you're so emotional. Like, hide your feelings and all that stuff. That's dangerous, if you ask me. That's dangerous, to hide your feelings. And I'm not the most expressive of my emotions either. However, when it comes time, God damn it, I'm going to do that shit. Because I know myself too, you know. But I look at it, I say that to say this. Perhaps it's better and healthier, and this is another reason why I'm recanting my statement and changing it to nurture, because perhaps it's better to give some at a time, even if you know a lot. Even if you may know everything, you may know a lot. But only give a little when it's time, for purpose, with intention. And that's what nurture is. That's what Mom Dukes does. Your mom, well, some of these moms will spoil the shit out their kids. Y'all know who y'all are too, you know what I'm saying? But some moms, they give the titty when it's time, you know what I'm saying? And the rest is just like, fall back. You got to learn you got to utilize what I gave you. And I don't mean just from titty milk. I mean in general, you know what I'm saying? Utilize the information that I gave you. Let me see what you do with that. And then I give you some more knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like the Library of Alexandria. They came and burnt that shit down because it's like, yo, why are you giving all these people access to this knowledge? There's no more mystery to life. There's no more, you know, and who's to say? Maybe if all of the knowledge is accessible, maybe that's heaven. But what about the people who utilize knowledge and they do wicked shit with it? You know what I'm saying? So perhaps it's healthier, perhaps it's better to give doses for survival purposes, because we've seen people in this terminology have used of being flying too close to the sun, if you know what I mean, right? People get burnt, their wings get melted, they fall hard. Some of them perish. You understand what I'm saying? It's just like, how did you have it all? How was you given all? How did you believe you had it all anyway? And you burned, you crashed and you burned. It's because you did not use it as a tool for survival. You felt you were higher or bigger and better than the rest, therefore you didn't need to survive anymore. However, you know, I don't even want to say jokes on you, because I don't want to make this sound any sinister than it has to be. I just want to make it as realistic as it has to be. So, in closing, when I was speaking about it's better to nurture the Taurus woman, first we got to look at this. Right? The moon is exalted in Taurus. This is something that I left out before. The moon is exalted in Taurus. So Taurus probably feels more comfortable than any other sign by learning things as it goes along. I mean, look at how gradual the sign is. It's very patient. It's very gradual. It's very pondering, using method, strategy in order to do things, right? So it makes sense to nurture a Taurus, because they can learn in those phases what they need to know when they need to know it for survival purposes. Because we also got to be aware that the Taurus represents the bull. The bull is on Wall Street, right? When a stock is bullish, that means it's charging ahead. People are charging ahead, right? And then when you look at the matador teasing the bull with the red cape and everything, this brings the Taurus out of their more nurtured, natural, or should I say serene element that they're usually in naturally. Taurus is not always on go with the horns out. This is something that is, y'all know that word that I'm looking for. It's something that's provoked in them, right? So in order for survival, just think about it. You'd have more money if you used more gradual decision making when it came to purchasing and stuff like that, things that are relative to the economy, right? Resources do help you survive, right? And I'm speaking this from have less point of view, perspective, right? Because when you have it all, you don't care. You're probably always going to be bullish. Probably like, yeah, I'm going to do that. It's like a drop in the ocean. Yeah, I'm going to get that Ferrari. I'm going to get that Lamborghini. And it's just like, it's really like some people don't even notice it when it's going from their account. However, how much has it damaged them, right? And that's the whole discussing what's going on here. That's the breakdown of the whole nature versus nurture thing. I probably could say more. I just don't want to say much more because I'm not actually discussing this live with more people. You know what I'm saying? So what I'll do now is pretty much nip it in the bud right here. Leave it for y'all, the people, the viewers, to get inside of the comment section and put your spill on it. Tell me what you feel about it. You know what I mean? And basically, I said, lastly, that Pisces man is to love the Taurus woman by utilizing the Venus energy because Venus is exalted in Pisces, right? So it would make sense for Pisces to feel more better putting out the reciprocal energy, you know what I mean? But I even seen someone in the comment section, and pardon me for not putting your name out here right now, but I seen you. I want to let you know I seen you, right? And I seen you talk about Tauruses do like to be, like, y'all like to be nurtured, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's not enough, or it's just when people give out of generosity, like the sun logistics was used, or the sun terminology was used, it's like they go back and they're like, everything I did for you, bitch, you know what I'm saying? And one of those, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I thought you loved me, nigga. Like, what the fuck is you talking about? You know what I'm saying? You was just, you know, doing that for who the fuck knows? I don't want to define it because it's so personal. Who can? You know, those are scenarios. So again, get in the comment section, y'all. I do have thoughts on making a newer video. I forget what it was on right at this moment, but that's probably good, right? To give y'all, to nurture y'all, to give you a piece of information that you need right now. Until next time, you heard? All right, I'm out.